We are currently in London, England, and I am so excited to bring my fiance on screen, as the online DS-160 form is filled out by the beneficiary for their US Embassy appointment. I thought he could walk you through how to fill out this form step by step, as he was the one who filled this out for his visa appointment.
The DS-160 is a long form, so we thought we'd create a tutorial as well as share some useful tips and tricks for the form and highlight some key aspects that may trick you out.
Here's a few quick points in regards to the DS-160. The form can be found on the Department of State website and is an online form for those applying for US visas. The form can only be submitted online electronically. It's free to fill out the form, however, you'll then be prompted to pay the visa embassy fee when booking your visa appointment located in your home country.
It is filled out by the beneficiary, i.e. the non-American citizen. However, technically, the petitioner could fill it out on your behalf if they have all your information to hand. In our case, I decided to fill out my own application as the form predominantly asked for the information of the person looking to immigrate to the USA. The DS-160 is valid for 30 days, so I advise you to start filling it out either when your MVC case is in transit or ready. You don't have to fill out the form in one go. You're able to save the form and come back to it later. I would highly recommend having a few documents to hand when filling out the DS-160, as it will ask for your passport information, previous address history, previous employment history, information about your parents, previous visits to the USA, as well as other countries too.
It's also worthwhile having a copy of your I-129F on hand, as a lot of the information the form asks for is fairly repetitive, and this will make filling out the form a lot easier.
You'll also need a digital passport style photo of yourself to upload when filling out this form, and I'll go through that as well.
Let's walk through the online DS-160 form. Just as a note, this is how we filled out the form, so some aspects may differ in relation to your circumstances, but I hope it gives you some guidance in filling out the form.
To fill out the DS-160, you're going to log on to the US Department of State website. Here you're going to select your location, so in my case I'm going to select England, London, and then enter the security code as shown here, and then I can click Start an Application. You're now on this page, which basically you're going to hit I agree to the terms and conditions. As we scroll down, this is important. It's got your application ID, so make a note of this, because if you need to retrieve your application, you're going to need to enter this ID if you want to start midway. Just also bear in mind the website crashes quite often, so it may exit out and you may need to restart. Now you can choose from the list here where it's a security question. I'm going to choose what street did you live on when you were 8 years old, and I'm going to type in London. So hit continue here, and now this section is about your personal information. Again, as you can see on the right hand corner, it's got your application ID, so make sure you make a note of this. And as you can see on the right hand side of all the fields, it's got some useful tips and it gives you guidance. So here I'm going to fill out my surname as it's listed on the passport, and now I'm going to type in my first name. It asks for your full name in the native alphabet, so this does not apply. The next question is, have you used any other names? If you do hit yes, it's going to give you an option to fill out any other names you've used. In my case, the answer is no, so I'm going to hit no and continue. The next question is, do you have a telecode that represents your name? I'm going to select no. Then asks whether you're male or female. So I'm going to select male, and then your marital status, so I'm going to select single. It's then asking me my date and place of birth, so I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to enter the day, the month, and the year. Asks which city I was born in, and I'm going to select does not apply for the state, and select my country, which is United Kingdom. This is very important. I'm going to hit save rather than click next and go on to the next information. As I mentioned before, this form pretty much exits out whenever or crashes, so just make sure every time you fill out a page, just hit save before continuing to the next page. So I'll click save here, and then I can continue the application, and then you can scroll all the way down to the bottom, checking if you filled in everything correctly, and we'll hit next. So now we're on to more personal information. So ask my country of origin, which is United Kingdom. It asks, have you held or do you hold any other nationality other than the one I've listed? So I'm going to select no. Are you a permanent resident of a country or region other than this one? If you select yes, you can choose down here from the list. However, in my case, the answer is no. Then ask for your national identification number. So we're going to hit this does not apply. It asks for your US social security number. So if you have lived in the US before, you could fill this out. And in my case, it does not apply. So I'm going to hit does not apply. And US taxpayer ID number does not apply. Here we're going to select next and continue to the travel information section. It's asking for your purpose of the trip. So in our case, we're going to select fiancé or spouse of a US citizen. It then asks you to select from the drop-down list, and we're going to choose fiancé of a US citizen, which is K1, which is what we're applying for. It then asks for your application receipt, petition number. So this is found on your NOAA 1. It's your receipt number, which begins with WAC, so enter that here. The next section asks, have you made any specific travel plans? So you can either hit yes or no. If you select yes, you can enter your flight information, the city you're intending to arrive in, and the date. In my case, I haven't made any plans, but it's still asking for the intended date of arrival. So I'm going to put in a rough date of when I think I may enter the US. It's then asking the address where I'll stay in the US, so I'm going to fill this out. And this is my petitioner's address. So I'm going to fill this out here with the street address. Type in the city, it's New York, and select the state and the zip code. It then asks for the person paying for the trip, and I'm going to select US petitioner. If you're paying for it yourself, you can also select self. Hit save, and then you can continue your application. Again, double check that everything is filled out, scroll to the bottom and click next. This section is about travel companions. Are there any other people traveling with you? So I'm going to select no. Hit save, and we'll continue. And the next section asks about previous US travel. So the first question is, have you ever been into the US? In my case, I have, and if you have and can't remember the dates or the place that you've been, you can find this out by logging on to the US Customs and Border Patrol website to get your I-94. So in order to do this, you're gonna log on to the I-94 CBP website. You're gonna click Get Most Recent I-94. Click here, I acknowledge. You're then gonna enter your information. So enter your first name as listed on your passport, your last name, put in your date of birth with the month and the year, then ask for your document number, which is listed on your passport, and then your country of citizenship, and mine is United Kingdom, and then hit next. So here it gives you your latest entry to the US that you've made. If you click Get Traveler History, it then provides you with an entire list of all your entries and exits to the US and the specific date, so you can be as accurate as possible on the DS-160. So as we return back to the DS-160, I'm going to click yes, I have traveled to the US. And I'm going to select the date as listed on the I-94 record. And then it asks for the length of stay, so I'm going to enter 2 weeks. You then have the option to add another if you have. So I'm going to just add another record here. And again, in the same format, I'm going to put the date and enter the length of the visit, which was 1 month. The next question is, do you or did you ever hold a US driver's license? So I'm going to click no. Next question is, have you ever been issued a US visa? So I'm going to click yes. And here it allows you to put the date the visa was issued and the visa number, which you can find on the visa. So I'll enter the date in here. So I'm going to enter the visa number here, and you also have the option to put do not know if you don't have access to that visa anymore. Obviously, if you haven't been issued a US visa before, you can hit no. Next question is, has your US visa ever been lost or stolen? So I'm going to hit no. Has your US visa ever been cancelled or revoked? And I'll hit no here. Next question is, have you ever been refused a US visa? So no. Have you ever been denied any travel authorization, such as an ESTA? And I'll hit no here. And has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf? This I'm going to hit no. This is my first K1 visa petition. I'm going to hit save here and continue my application. Just double check everything's accurate and hit next. This section is asking for the beneficiary's address and telephone information. So I'm going to put my home address here, which is my home country. I'm going to type in the city, London. Just going to click does not apply for the state, and enter the postcode here and select my country, which is United Kingdom. Then ask, is your mailing address the same as your home address? So I'm going to select yes. Then ask for my telephone number, so I'm going to put my mobile number here, and I'm going to click does not apply for any other numbers. Next question asks, have you used any other phone numbers in the last 5 years? So I'll hit no. Then ask for your email address, so I'm going to put that down here. And the next question asks, have you used any other email addresses in the last 5 years? So I'm going to hit yes, I have had another email address. And I'm going to input this here. The next section asks about social media, so you can list any social media that you use here. So from the drop down list you can select any of these. So I'm going to select Instagram, and I'm going to put my Instagram handle here. You have the option to add another. The next question is, do you wish to provide information about your presence on any other websites that you've used? And I'm going to hit no. Going to hit save and continue my application. Just scroll through this and we go on to the next section, which is your passport information. So in relation to your passport information, you're going to select your passport travel document type from the list. You're going to select regular. Then ask for your passport number, so you're going to find that on your passport and enter that here. Ask for your passport book number. I'm going to click does not apply, and the country that issued my passport is United Kingdom. It asks for the city, but I'm going to list what was listed on the passport, which is HMPC. And then I'm going to type in the date it was issued, with the date, the month and the year, and then write in the expiration date. The last question is, have you ever lost a passport or had one stolen? In my case the answer is no. And we'll hit save and go on to continue application. Again, scroll down, and now we go on to the US contact information, which is the next section. So it's then asking for your contact person in the United States. So I'm going to put my fiance's information down. So we're going to type in her surname here, her first name here. For the organization name, click do not know because it doesn't apply. And relationship to you, you're going to select US Petitioner. Hit save, continue application, and next. This section is asking about your family information, your immediate relatives, your father and mother. So I'm going to enter my father's information here. If your father for any reason is deceased or you do not know any of this information, there is a tab to click do not know. Then ask, is your father still living? So you can select yes or no. So I'm going to select yes and enter his address. So for city, I'm going to put London. Click does not apply for state. Enter the zip code. Select the country, which is United Kingdom. And it asks, is your father in the US? And I'm going to hit no. This section is about my mother, so I'm going to put that information. This next question is pretty important. It asks, do you have any immediate relatives, not including parents, in the United States? If you look at in the right hand help section, it says it means fiancé or spouse. So in our case, to anyone applying for the K1 visa, you're actually going to hit yes. You're then going to enter your petitioner's last name, first name, relationship to you, you're going to select fiancé, and from the status you're going to select US citizen. Hit save and continue application. Check everything is accurate and hit next. It's then asking for your fiancé, i.e. your petitioner's information. So I'm going to put her last name, her first name. I'm going to enter her date of birth here. It's then asking for her address. So I'm going to put her street address here. I'm going to select the city, which is New York. You're going to enter the zip code here. And then from the drop down list, you're going to select your petitioner's occupation. You can select not employed, or you can choose from the small list of categories they have here. So I'm just going to select business and hit save. I'm going to click next to former spouse information. The question asks, do you have any other former spouses? In my case, the answer is no, but you can click yes. And then you fill out this form here with their information, including how the marriage ended. So I'm going to click no and move on to the next section, which is children. Ask, do you have any former children? Do you have any children? In my case, again, the answer is no, but you would fill out their information here. So I'm going to move on to the next section. So the next section is work information. This section asks for your current work information. So you have a drop down list here to select your primary occupation. These are the options. You can click not employed if you're not working. I'm going to select communications, and here I'm going to put information about my current employer. So I'm going to put their name, I'm going to write their address, their city. I'm going to click does not apply for state. I'm going to write the country, which is United Kingdom. It's then asking for your start date, so I'm going to write the date I started working there. Then ask for your monthly income in the local currency, and you can describe what you do at your place of work. And I'm going to hit save and move on to the next section. So this section asks were you previously employed, so you can add more information about any other places that you've worked. So I'm going to hit yes here and type in my employer's name. I'm going to type in the street, the city, but does not apply with these two items, and select from the list the country. I'm going to enter the telephone number here. I'm going to write my job title. You have the option to write your supervisor's name. If you don't know, you can select do not know, and then it asks you from the date that you started and then the date that job ended. And again, it asks you to briefly describe your duties there. The next section asks, have you attended any educational institutions at secondary level or above? So you can hit no if you haven't, or yes if you have. So here I'm going to write down my highest level of education. So I'm going to write down university, and I'm going to write down the address here as well. I'm going to select the city, which is London. I'm going to select the country, which again was United Kingdom. I'm going to select my course of study and the date my attendance started from, and when I finished university. I'm going to hit save, continue application. This section asks, do you belong to a clan or a tribe? So I'm going to click no. It asks any other additional languages you speak. I'm just going to type in English, as that's the only language I speak. It's then asking, have you traveled to any other countries or regions within the last 5 years? So I'm going to select yes, and you're able to list them here from the drop down list. So I'll select Canada. I have the option to add other countries too. I'll add in Spain, and Brazil. The next question is, have you resided in any country or region for 6 months or longer after age 16? So you can select yes or no. I'm going to select yes, and you're going to select the country. In my case, it's United States of America. Just bear in mind, if it's any other country that you're selecting, you'll need to obtain a police certificate report from this country too. Next question asks, have you belonged to any professional or charitable organization? So I'm going to click no. Have you any specialized skills? So I'm going to hit no here. Have I ever served in the military? I'll select no. And have I been involved in been a member of any kind of group? So I'm going to select no. I'm going to click save. I'm going to click continue application. Double check everything's correct and click next. This is security and background information, so this is the last section. So the first question is asking, do you have any kind of diseases? So I'm going to select no here. Do you have any kind of mental or physical disorders? I'm going to select no. Have you ever been a drug abuser or addict? I'm going to click no. And this is a very important last question. Do you have documentation to establish that you have received vaccinations in accordance with US law? You're actually going to select yes here, because as part of the K1 visa process, you would have had to go through a medical exam. So we're going to click yes here. Hit save and continue application. Again, there's a lot more security and background questions. So I'm going to click no. Have I ever been arrested or convicted? I click no to substance abuse. Again, I would advise reading through all these questions and answering honestly. I'm going to select no for all of these after reading through it correctly. Hit save. Continue application. I click next. On to part 3. Select no to all of these. Again, we can skip through and select no to all of these. Again, just be mindful, if they apply to you, then you're gonna need to put yes. And now we can move on to the last section, which is uploading a photo. So here you're gonna need to upload a photo of yourself, a passport style photo on a white background. I'm gonna click on choose file, locate it on my laptop, select the photo I want. I'm going to click upload, and it's then going to come up with a screen saying the photo has passed the quality standards. So I'm going to click continue using this photo, considering it's been approved. I'm then going to click next, review, and this is my application that I filled in. So I'm going to scroll down, make sure it's all accurate and correct. Just double check all your answers are accurate. this is the final part of the DS-160 where you're basically signing and submitting. So you're going to tick this box in red, sign this box where it says that you're legally free and able to marry, then ask did anyone assist you in filling out this application, so I'm going to select no as I filled it out myself. You're then going to enter your passport number and enter the code listed. You can then click sign and submit. You're then going to hit confirmation, and that's your application completed. You're going to have this confirmation page. All you have to do is print this form. You do not need to print your entire application. This is the most important part that you just need to bring to your visa appointment. So all you have to do is click print confirmation and hit print and send it to your printer. In order to make sure that your photo meets the requirements, back on the US Department of State website, you can click on Photo Standard Guide. Once you click here, you're going to select Photo Tool on the right. It allows you to upload a photo. So I'm going to click Choose Photo from my computer, select one, click Open, and it will basically tell you whether it's been approved or rejected. So as you can see, it says it's been rejected in my case. And on the right here, it will give you examples of what the photo should look like in terms of size and position, the poses, whether glasses should be in frame or not, any hats, shadows and lighting, as well as the background color and the resolution and quality. So this will be a guide for you in terms of how you should take your photo. So here's how to retrieve your application if the DS-160 form does crash. You're going to go onto the DS-160 homepage and select your country. You're going to enter the code as shown, and you're going to click retrieve an application. It's then going to ask for your application ID. Going to hit retrieve application, enter your surname, date of birth and the answer to your security question, and click retrieve application. And this should take you back to where the form would have crashed when you were filling out the form initially, and then you can continue.
We hope you found this tutorial useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them.